Welcome to Lesson 2. Today, we'll learn how to properly evaluate data, information, and digital content. Here's the lesson outline. First, we'll define the difference between misinformation and disinformation. Then, we'll dive into the criteria for evaluating information, validity, and reliability. After that, we'll explore common information biases. Finally, we'll walk through the CRAAP test and how to identify reliable sources, using academic research as our unified example. Let's start by distinguishing misinformation from disinformation. Misinformation is false or inaccurate information shared without the intent to deceive. For instance, a student researching the effects of online classes on GPA might find an article claiming online classes always lower GPAs. If they share it without verifying the accuracy, they're spreading misinformation. Disinformation, on the other hand, is deliberately created to mislead. Imagine a company that offers in-person tutoring services deliberately publishes false claims that online classes harm GPA to promote their own services. That's disinformation. The consequences of misinformation can be far-reaching. Imagine that article about how online classes lower GPA gets shared across social media. Soon, many students might start avoiding online courses, even though the information is inaccurate. This could limit their academic flexibility and opportunities. The consequences of disinformation can be even more damaging. For example, if disinformation spreads widely enough, policymakers might reduce funding for online education based on false data. This decision could negatively impact students and the future of online learning.
Reflective time.
Can you recall any experience of encountering misinformation or disinformation?
Now, let's talk about validity and reliability, two crucial criteria when evaluating information for a project on a topic like the effects of online classes on GPA. First, validity. Is the information based on accurate and well-founded data? For example, if you're researching the effects of online classes on GPA, an article that cites government education data and multiple peer-reviewed studies is more valid than one that doesn't provide any data or sources. When deciding which sources to include in your project, choose a peer-reviewed journal article over a personal blog post. The former is likely more valid because it's been reviewed by experts. Next, reliability. Can you trust this source to provide accurate information over time? A website that consistently publishes well-researched studies on education is more reliable than one that has a history of sensational headlines or biased reporting. Let's say you come across a website with a history of clickbait articles. That site is less reliable than one known for peer-reviewed educational research. Now, let's dive into the CRAAP test, a tool that helps evaluate digital information. It stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. We'll apply this test to research on the effects of online classes on GPA. First, currency. How recent is the information? For example, when researching the effects of online classes on GPA, an article from 2023 that includes post-pandemic data is more relevant than one from 2010. The older article may not account for the latest technologies or teaching methods used in online learning. Next, relevance. Does the information directly address your research question? If your topic is how online classes affect GPA, an article that focuses on student performance in online education is more relevant than one discussing how online gaming affects social skills. Third, authority. Who is the author? Are they qualified to write on this topic? For instance, an article about online learning written by a PhD in education is more authoritative than one written by a blogger with no academic background. Fourth, accuracy. Is the information supported by evidence? Can you verify it through other reliable sources? When evaluating an article on the effects of online classes on GPA, check if it cites peer-reviewed studies or official statistics, such as from the National Center for Education Statistics. Finally, purpose. Why was this information created? Is it meant to inform, persuade, or sell something? For example, an article promoting online tutoring services might not be objective about the benefits of online learning. By applying the CRAAP test, you ensure that your research is based on valid, reliable, and relevant information, which strengthens your project and improves your academic performance.
Reflective time.
Can you quickly recap the 5 criteria in CRAAP test?
Let's recap. Today, we learned how to distinguish between misinformation and disinformation, how to evaluate information using validity and reliability, and how to apply the CRAAP test to assess digital content. We also explored how to identify reliable sources like peer-reviewed journals, reputable news outlets, and official websites. Remember, by asking the right questions and using tools like the CRAAP test, you are able to evaluate information more effectively and avoid the pitfalls of misinformation. Always evaluate before you share. Thanks for watching. For additional resources and information, please visit the Digital Competence Education platform.